It does pain me to think about how many people are pursuing success at the expense of their real success, which is their soul just screaming out, like, just go to the beach today. There's so much more to success than what can be measured.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick.
Tune in for a new episode every Tuesday to hear our honest conversations about topics like wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and self-development with guests who are really smart, really inspirational,
and really fucking funny. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered.
Inspired by our transition from our 20s to our 30s, we realized it's so much more than that. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate any transitions in your life and propel your personal growth.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
Hey guys, really quick before we get into the episode, want to just make sure that you know about 2 upcoming events that we're really excited about.
Yeah, the first is on April 28th. It is a Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. We are teaming up with Aubrey Winters of the Aubrey Winters Method, as well as Kalumi, the beauty food bar, which we love so much. They are launching their new bar. So you will get that there. And we're going to work out. We're going to meditate and just hang. You know how we do. So Fitness with the Finest, you can find tickets on our website, almost30podcast.com.
Yeah, and the other event that we're doing is the Moon and Your Saturn Return workshop. So if you listened to our episode last week with the amazing Spirit Daughter, we are hosting an event with Spirit Daughter, Energy Muse, and it is going to be workshop style. So that is happening on Sunday, May 6th at 3 p.m. And at this event, you're going to get a crystal for your sign. You're going to get your own moon sign and sun sign reading. And we're going to be going into what exactly your Saturn return is and how to navigate it. So get tickets for that on our website under the events tab, and we cannot wait to see you there.
Yeah, first event is at Knockout LA. Second event is at Sage Wellness. So come and see us.
1, 2.
What are you giggling about over there?
So my friend Chris from college just texted me and he goes, "A girl I work with is a huge fan of yours. Side note, recently found out about your fame. Congrats." You must not follow me on Instagram. Just kidding. And he just sent me a picture, and this picture is the best. He sent me a picture of us to prove that we're friends. Look at this tiny purse. I have the tiniest purse on my arm.
Do you guys remember the
my arm's
purses
fatter than my purse?
The purses that lived underneath your armpit?
Tiny. It was like an armpit BO catcher. It's the tiniest. It's sequins. It's like the size of a phone, and it's under. Like, what is it even carrying? I've got a side bang going on. I'm very tan. I've never lifted a weight from my arm in my life. My arms are very large. And I didn't know shit about skinny arm. So I'd be like, oh yeah, let's take a picture and put my arm, like smash it against the side of my body. Now I'm like, my arms are like 20 feet from my body. I'm like, what? So that's what I'm laughing at.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I'm obviously doing duck face, and I'm obviously throwing up a peace sign.
Obviously.
Because, my eyeshadow is turquoise and it matches my dress. That's it. That's me.
I would love for some old pics to just pop up in my life. Like have people float them around. I feel like it just keeps the energy alive.
Totally.
Like where I've come from.
Yeah. It keeps you grounded. Keeps the momentum. Keeps my momentum to move forward in my life.
We should bring back that 20s us, 30s us thing.
Oh yeah, we should.
Those TBTs.
What do you guys think? Let us know.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys, this episode had me high.
Like, I don't even want to talk about it.
Let's talk about our events first.
Yeah, let's talk about the events first. It was crazy. I was just like, it was like ping pong. I was like, boom, boom, boom.
It had me high.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some fucking dope events coming up. I'm so excited. So on April 28th, Fitness with the Finest.
Fitness with the Finest.
I love the title, but I'm also like, oh, they like so funny. Because we're just like, all the best friends just hanging out.
Totally. You don't
think about like, oh, we're gonna come to work out with like LA's finest. We're like your best friends, and we're gonna fucking work out and chill
with cool people.
Yeah. So, It's going to be at Knockout LA on April 28th, which is a Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Aubrey Winters, our dear friend and fitness queen, is going to be teaching her Aubrey Winters method, which is so fun. It's like
so fun.
Dance, it's bar, it's this. It's like,
it's just like feeling your body. It's very femme.
It's so cool. It is fucking
And it gets your body,
cool.
That shit gets your body right.
Yeah, because you know what? Like it's a full body workout without it feeling so like hit, you know? Like it's just this movement, this flow. It's almost like stretching and moving.
Yeah.
And anyway. So that's going to be fun, followed by a meditation. And Kalumi will be debuting their new bar. And we're so pumped.
Cheeky chai.
Yeah, cheeky chai.
It's like the only bar that I eat.
Yeah, it's so clean. Marine collagen.
Yukon syrup, nut butter. It's the shit.
Sweet potato.
Sweet tater.
Lots of good stuff.
Also,
speaking, I don't know why this made me think of it because I get my Kalumi bars at Erewhon, but Erewhon's opening tomorrow. This episode comes out after that, but on Wilshire. So anybody in LA,
know where Lindsay will be.
I will be there 6 days a week.
So that's April 28th. You can get your tickets on almost30podcast.com. Go to the events page. Yeah, you'll get a bunch of free goodies. We have great sponsors there that are really fun. And then a workout, meditation, some chillin'. And then we also have on May 6th with Spirit Daughter. So hopefully you listen to the episode with Jill of Spirit Daughter. We are having an event with Spirit Daughter and Energy Muse on May 6th from 3 to 6 p.m. at Sage Wellness on Abbot Kinney. And it's going to be a workshop. So we're going to do a crystal ritual for navigating through your Saturn return. And then we're also going to be going through your charts. So we're going to understand your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, and you will get a chart reading. And then you'll also get a crystal that's made specifically for you. So you're going to be getting really dope goodies at this workshop.
I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So you can visit our website, almost30podcast.com. And under the events tab, you can find the links to our Conscious City Guide page, and you can purchase tickets there. We're just so pumped to see you, as always. And stay tuned. We are going on tour. So we'll be seeing you in your cities. And if you are wanting us to come to your city, let us know. We are adding to the tour list gradually. So we're pumped. We cannot wait.
Yeah, we cannot wait. So thanks for the emails too, with everyone offering to help. Everyone's been so sweet and kind. And, you know, it's been so nice. So we're just working through those. We really appreciate it. And then shout out to Ashley Kretschmar, who's friends with Chris. That was the girl that was saying that she knew us.
Oh, that's so sweet.
She's at
Sup, girl?
Ash IRENE2 on Instagram. So follow that bitch. She's cool.
She's cool. All right. So today on the podcast, we have Peta Kelly.
Actually, this was an episode where I was like, oh, we're making magic. Like she educated me. She opened my eyes. She just said some shit that was like, blew my mind.
She's just like human and very like in this space where I feel like the space she's in is saturated, right? And like, I feel like you can look out into the sea of those people who are in the space and be like, okay, so you all kind of have this like similar vibe, and she is different.
She's different.
She is like pure human, like imperfect in the most beautiful way. Like I just like am very, I don't know. She definitely moved us. So we can't wait for you to hear this episode. She's conscious. She's honest.
Yep.
We were really grateful to get to talk to her. She is in Australia, so she made the time. I think there are parts of this episode where her beautiful son, Soul, her baby, is like kind of crying in the background. So you really...
She's being a mom.
Being a mom. But her book, Earth is Hiring, The New Way to Live, Lead, Earn, Give for Millennials and Anyone Who Gives a Shit, is fucking rad. So we talk a lot about the book and just about, you know, the way in which she's lived her life to kind of come to this like human as fuck place.
Breaking the paradigm too of feeling like you can't live a life that you love and make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So she talks a lot about her relationship with money, the hustle that she had to have to build a life that she loves. And, you know, kind of breaking from that, you need to be doing a 9 to 5, you need to be doing X, Y, and Z to be making a lot of money. She really used her talents and what she was good at naturally to make millions of dollars in her 20s.
Yeah. She's so playful and just like curious too.
Yeah.
We
had fun. The interview gets better and better too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets better throughout. Like it's so good. We're excited for you guys.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Guys. We love you. Enjoy this episode. This episode is brought to you by Thrive Market. What's up, Almost 30 Nation? It's Linz. I've been using Thrive for a long time now. I love Thrive Market. It is a membership community, and they use the power of direct buying to deliver the world's best healthy food and natural products to its members at wholesale prices. So you're saving 25 to 50% off retail prices, which is incredible. So there's no middleman, basically. And they also, on the other end, Thrive is giving back. They sponsor free memberships for low-income American families, which is really important to Krista and I, that there is an energetic balance. So there is a give and a receiving end of the experience here at Thrive Market. So we're so proud to have them as a sponsor. New to Thrive Market is their meat and seafood section. So their meats are sustainably produced, ethically sourced, and they're starting at less than $5 per serving. So check that out. I do eat meat every once in a while, and I really do trust Thrive Market. So you can go to thrivemarket.com/almost30. That will take you to our landing page where you can shop some of Krista and I's favorites on Thrive Market. So that's really cool. And then you can click Get Started Now to sign up for your membership. Honestly, guys, this has made my life so much easier. It's delivered straight to my door. I don't have to think about it. So try it out, thrivemarket.com/almost30. This episode is also brought to you by Bright Cellars. If you don't know, now you know, I do love my wine. And as I get older, I'm taking a lot of pride in learning about wine. It's such a beautiful, intricate process, and I want to try wines that I would never normally seek out in the store when I'm shopping. So I love Bright Cellars for that reason. You can go onto brightcellars.com/almost30. You'll get a $30 credit towards your first box. Click Get Started, and you will take a short quiz. It's really fun. They ask you something like, what is the one type of chocolate you could eat for the rest of your life? Based on your answer to that question and a handful of others, they will customize your box based on your taste preferences. I just received my box for this month, and I received a Petite Verdot. Never had that. A Dornfelder from 2015. Those are both red wines. And I also have 2 whites, a Chardonnay and a Petit Blanc. And I'm so excited. You know, it's great because you can bring it to a party or a dinner that you're going to. You can give it as gifts, or you can keep it for yourself in your house or apartment just to have whenever you need. And it's so exciting to unbox every month and see what I got and learn and discover about these new wines from different regions. And I'm just so excited to share it with Almost 30 Nation. So you can go to brightcellars.com/almost30, brightcellars.com/almost30, and you get $30 towards your first box. That's basically 50% off. Okay. So head over there. Let us know what you think. Join our secret Facebook group. We want to know what you're drinking.
I love how you put your little description of what your mom said about your book on Amazon. That was so fucking cute.
It's the cutest because everybody's like, you got to put like a big influencer on the back and like get some big influencer reviews. And I was like, well, you know, I have lots of influencer friends, but I care more about what my mom thinks of my books.
Totally.
So my mom is an English teacher, so she proofread it. And that was just the text message she sent me after. So I just whacked it on the book. And then I got my friend in Scotland, Mark John Brown, who's like a shaman. And I was like, he's such a word master. I was like, write something about my book. I'm going to whack it on the back. It was just such a easy process because, you know, that's like, so what our generation cares about. I feel like we're sort of transitioning out of the whole, like, you better have someone real popular endorsing your book. It's like, I don't really give a shit if, like, it's just not about that. So it just made it so much, it's just fun, you know?
100%. But I was thinking, I'm like, it is interesting now. I was thinking with like the influencer generation and like podcasting and just how there's no differentiation. There's no like celebrities really anymore. Like I was thinking about the Oscars and I was like, I don't think people really give a shit about that kind of stuff anymore. You know, it's not like you have celebrities where we still are like, Brad Pitt is so cool and Angelina Jolie. It's like, there's such a gray area now where we look up to such different people than we did a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we'd freak out if we saw them in the street. Like I think there's so much more connection and empathy. Like, I don't think we, you know, worship or idolize people because we have such a, like, the evolution of our consciousness has us feeling more connected and empathetic and just understanding like the togetherness of all of us. So it's like you can admire people without putting them on a pedestal. You can admire and respect people without worshiping them. And I think it's, you know, again, it's as we become more conscious and evolved, it's more about the heart than it is about the ego. When you're in the heart, you genuinely just like admire and respect and appreciate people for their work without wanting to be them or putting up on a pedestal or, you know, perhaps what could have been quite egoic ways of showing appreciation, you know. But again, maybe worship is also consciousness. Who knows? There's no judgment there. But I agree. I think it's more about friendship now than fanship. You know, we care more about building a tribe than we do about building I wrote about it in my book. Like, it's building tribe now is not a triangle where someone sits at the top, like preaching to their people who sit below them. It's about an ecosystem and a circle. And, you know, we're all serving each other with our own unique gifts. And so it's much more about one team than it is about, you know, like standing on the top of the mountain sort of thing.
100%. Yep.
So yeah, we would love to kind of talk about your transition from your 20s to your 30s. Who was Peta in her early 20s?
Oh, just hilarious. I know. Like, it's crazy. When people are like, I got married in my 20s, I'm like, interesting. I don't know what happened.
I'm like, we wouldn't be friends. Bye.
Yeah. I mean, I got married in my 20s too, but I mean, early 20s was a different ballgame. I was like, I just don't think that wouldn't be working out still. Which, I mean, complete respect to those who do get married in early 20s and stay with each other through the evolution. Yeah. Amazing. I don't know if it would have been the case for me. So my husband now would not have been attracted to me in my 20s. You know, I was in my early 20s, although we got together, you know, we met in like mid 20s, but early 20s, I was a scientist. Yeah. By 22, I had 2 science degrees and I was in a PhD. So I was getting ready I had a scholarship and I was really rocking and rolling, and I was set to be Dr. Peta Kelly by the time I was 25. And that was really my goal. And I had like a course redirect after my first 2 degrees. During my PhD, I was like, no, this is just not for me anymore. Complete respect to my degree. I was very much just very focused on whatever I want to do, I'll do. Really cared about people. So that was my avenue of helping people. But I needed a redirect. Like, my soul was nudging me over here, like, you're done with science, come over here, like, come and explore. And I had no idea what that looked like. So I took the leap. I'll get there soon. That's when I began my business journey, which was just like, of course, divine. Here's where you're meant to be. Begin the new university of like life and business. And, you know, but in that time in my early 20s, I was going through the bender period. No stranger to a bender, that's for sure. Traveling around Europe with my friends, going to all the EDM clubs, you know, like Berlin. We were in like our goal was to get into Berghain, which is like a deep tech house club in Berlin where anything goes, right? It's like, so
yeah, you're like, I want the mystery. It's like, we could get drug rate, you know, we could get drugged. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. I think about that too. I'm like, yo, that shit's so, like, the shit I did, I'm like, that's dangerous. Like, take it. Yeah. Should have happened to me.
But you've got to do it. Like, I look back on that time in my life, people are like, are you embarrassed that you used to like experiment like that? I'm like, no way. Like, I was such a nerd, but also so reckless in so many ways. And I love that because now my family calls me they all call me sweater dog, which is like, there's this meme about this party dog. And then there's this like tiny dog next to them, which is wearing a sweater, who's like, we got to go home. So my family calls me the sweater dog now, because I used to be like 19 years old, Mum, pick me up from the nightclub at 6 a.m., drop me at the after party, and then I'll go to work at Subway after. Like, that's what I did when I was like 19.
Calling
like,
mom.
Yeah, my mum is a legend. She's a high school teacher, so she knows, like, you stay in with your kids, right? Like, so she would pick us up, drop us at the after party, be there to pick us up. Like, so we were always, she's just a legend.
Actual legend.
Yeah, total legend. But so I went through that phase where I was like studying and then partying and, doing really well at both, to be honest, like just harmonizing there. But then I was thrust into the world of entrepreneurship and with my first business, which is network marketing. And it really was like growing into a leadership role really swiftly. So probably when I was like 24, I was starting to lead like a really solid organization of millennials in business. And so it was at the same time I was beginning like this, I don't call it like an awakening. Just I was beginning like this journey of awakened consciousness and becoming more aware and personal development, personal growth. So it was really rapid for me to go from like, being really committed to my science, which I love that part of my life, to letting loose a bit and try to discover who I was through partying. Because we're really, what we're doing when we're partying, we're trying to seek and find and grasp and who am I and what's happiness and like, and going between the range. And then it was like this journey of just awareness. And this is my little angel pie. She's teething right now. I know.
Oh, how old is she now?
She's 8 months today, actually. She was born like right here behind me.
Shut up.
You had a home birth? Come on.
Yeah, I had a home birth.
Fucking rock. Any drugs at all?
No.
Damn.
I mean, this is what people don't realize about birth.
Yes.
You have so many natural drugs inside you, like adrenaline, serotonin, endorphins. That's what I had. So that's where we birthed her, and she's got a little playpen there now. It looks like the UFC octagon. So we always joke about it. Seriously.
That's amazing.
It really does.
In the ring.
Yeah, with her little diaper on.
Baby Kelly. Oh my God, that's so
sweet. But so I was thrust into that. And that's when I started to really like grow up. And then I look back at it's crazy. I look back at the last 5 years and it's gone so fast. There's been so much growth. Like from 29 to 21, it's crazy different, but still we're the same essence, like we still have the same essence. But then I look at the last 5 years and it's just like, it's still such a vast difference. It's just, I love the 20s and I have zero embarrassment about anything that I did, even though I look back and I'm like, oh my God. Like I look back at the Facebook statuses and I'm like,
oh my God.
What were you like really, Peter? Like, where was your compassion? Like, did you have any like,
wow. I would love to see mine.
I would love to see mine too.
Honestly, don't do it. It's bad. But I love it. I still look back and I'm like, it's just,
I'd love to know, just tracking through. So what do you think made you so successful right out the gate in network marketing? Like, I mean, going from, wanting to be Dr. Peta Kelly by the time you were 25 and then just like hitting the network marketing world and killing it and leading a team. Like, what do you attribute that to?
Mm-hmm. Firstly, I think like divine guidance, like it was very much like a calling for me. I always had natural leadership abilities. Like even in primary school, it was very much like I cared a lot about a lot of things, unusually for my age. I was very much, well, I've got to take care of this. Well, that person's being bullied. Who's going to take care of it? Like, hey guys, don't worry about doing the assignment. I'll do it. Just put your name on it. Like that was me, just very much like naturally able to lead and go first. I always had that ability to like cast a vision for what things could be like. And that was a very amazing gift I was so grateful to have. So when it came time for me to like get into network marketing, it wasn't getting into network marketing in a way that it had been done because I had no idea about it. So many people have hangups about it. There's so many awful stories about companies with no integrity and, all that stuff. But for me, it was, I didn't know anything about it. It wasn't about network marketing for me. It was about letting our generation know that there were so many other avenues to create the life they wanted to live. So for me, it was network marketing was that first vehicle for me, but my message was so much bigger and grander than that. It was about, well, why aren't you living your ideal day? Like, why are we slapping this all-providing universe in the face by constantly settling? Like for us, we live in such a privileged part of the world where we can do anything. Why are so many of us unhappy? Like, it seemed like so wrong, like we were slapping life in the face. So for me, I felt like so much of it was this, Peter, this is what you need to learn because this is what you need to teach. So I started naturally sharing in the Isogenics products, because there's a company, the health and wellness products I really liked, and started naturally sharing them because I cared about health. But I was being led to experience a sense of freedom in my work and a sense of choice in my work that was guiding me to be like, holy shit, like I can work anywhere in the world. And this was like 6 years ago when that was quite like, whoa, you know, like especially in Australia, I can work anywhere in the world with my laptop. I can choose my income. I can have as my angel part, I can have a very abundant, plentiful income in order to serve the world in greater ways. So, you know, I had a goal and a dream to retire my mom, who's a single mom of 4. And it was really important for me to take care of her financially because she sacrificed everything for us growing up. Stepped on lounges, sold cars. We had a three-bedroom house with 5 of us living in there. She was like my hero. So it was so important for me to be able to contribute to her financially. And I love giving. I love surprising people. I love giving to organizations I cared about. So as I started to grow into this freedom and I started to create this freedom for myself, both location-wise and financially, I started to really explore. At the same time, I was on this journey of consciousness. So it was never really like a greed thing for me. It thank God, simultaneously, I was surrounded by personal growth and all of these really purposeful, meaningful people, great mentors, that I was matching like my experience of creating freedom with like what it meant in this new time. So, you know, I suppose getting to work with tens of thousands of millennials who had chosen network marketing because they were hungry for a new way. They were like, how can I just live in a different way? And that was their first vehicle, much like me. It was like our step in. It was like our platform to be like, fuck, we really can do things differently. We really can live a life of contribution, freedom, like passion, purpose, full alignment with our soul. And then I suppose, you know, when people ask me what made me so successful, I just knew how to work. I've always known how to work. I've worked since I was 13 years old, $5 an hour, leading horses around fairs, doing letterbox drops, like having a single mom of 4, you know how to work, right? So when I had a vision and I had a calling and when I was in complete alignment with it, there was no like gray area for me. It was like, do the thing, serve the people, create the life, and stop spending energy on like over planning, over worrying. Just go for it. I had no issues in failing. I had no issues in fear of failure. It was like this mesh of, I have these big goals personally to not have to answer to any more unappreciative bosses, which we've all had those. And I also had this vision and this real responsibility to make sure I could be an example for my generation that perhaps there wasn't too many of at that time in Australia. Like when I would sit down and look people in the eye and say, what's your ideal day? People were like, what the fuck? Like, I've never been asked that before. Like, it was crazy back then. Yeah. And so I suppose it was firstly it was a calling. That was my role. That was what I was meant to do. And that was very clear to me. It wasn't smooth. It was very messy, you know, but it doesn't matter, because when you like, even if like you're fucking up, messing up, learning, it's still smooth when you are in alignment all the time. If you think about it, right? Because even those detours and everything are still so perfect. And that really then led me on to really going to work to define this new way to live, leader, and give like, what is our generation doing differently and why? How can we bridge like the ancient wisdom with the new? How can we redefine money? Like what does conscious enterprise mean? How are we meant to lead in a way that is more rewarding? You know, so that really was my platform to then grow on. But I think, you know, now I'm a lot more like fun, play, ease. Like I love to be a lot more joyful in my work. Whereas back then, when you asked me what was the key to my success, then just unwavering focus. I don't like using the word hustle, but I was committed to my people. I was committed to my mom. I was committed to myself. And I was committed to creating an example for how I wanted life to be lived that I hadn't seen in a single other person. And I was tired of looking for inspiration in places other than myself. Like, I wanted to be the person to show the world and myself how good it was meant to be. And I had that inner calling, but coupled with like this pull. It was like, this is what you got to learn because this is what you got to teach. So I was so grateful that is what God, source, the universe, like gave me to do back then, because it was a really great, purposeful second half of my 20s.
And have you always, it's like you have this like inner knowing and this connection with source and spirit. And I've found mine in my like later 20s. What was your spiritual journey like? Were you always spiritual? Like, do you always have this knowing or sort of what was that like? How has that been?
Well, in high school, I grew up in Freo, which is like Fremantle, which is an area of Western Australia that is pretty hippie, you know, like I would go to school trying to take my shoes off, like not wear a bra. Didn't really need to wear a bra, but made me feel more hippy.
You're like, I'm crazy.
Yeah, I'm great. It's like not wearing my crop
happening.
top.
Yeah.
It's true. Like just you know, I'd have my incense and make sure everybody knew I had incense. You know, stereotypical hippie. Now, I collect Buddhas in my house. Do you know that? I love the Beatles. I have John Lennon's articles on my refrigerator. You know, it's just very, very, very much like
peace signs everywhere.
Yeah. So I always, you know, I suppose had that like inner hippie. Just growing up, like I've never tasted Coca-Cola to this day. My family would tell you that I was very different in that, just very responsible for our world. But then I went through my party phase, which to me still spiritual. Like if you've been in like an EDM club in Berlin, like that's still spiritual. Like that is such an experience. So I suppose that was all part of my spiritual journey, but it wasn't until, like I said, like I exited that phase, like I was completely done with that phase, and it started to, you know, and I think I did probably go through that stereotypical spiritual phase, like, oh, why is everybody not woke? Oh my God, you know. But then it's so much, now I'm learning like spirituality is humanness, you know, like spirituality is not like this, like we think it's so high flying. Like the ultimate spirituality for me now is like just be a human and like embrace this fucking life and have fun. Like to me, the most spiritual thing I can do in a day is have fun. And that's taken me a lot of like ceremonies and you know, rituals and a very vast and expansive spiritual exploration to arrive at the fact that a lot of the time our spiritual journeys are like, everybody's like, have fun. That's so simple. It's like, really? Well, how often do you do it? Like, how often are you genuinely in the play and appreciation of life? If spirituality is really that easy, if fun and joy is really that easy, why do most people not actually do it? And so it's definitely been an evolution, but fucking hell, it's just funny. Like I love making fun of this, like myself included, like this conscious woke aware world, because it's so often so much more complicated than it really needs to be. And
why do you think that is? Why do you think people complicate it?
I think because there's so much to it. You know, there's so much to like this. Once you start to, you know, become aware, there's so many layers to it, and there's so many elements to it that we feel like we need to know all of it. And there's also a bandwagon. You know, there's also a spiritual conscious bandwagon. You know it in LA, right? Just everywhere. It becomes trendy. It becomes trendy to be spiritual. And so a lot of the time we're doing things with the best intention. Like, fuck, I can look at myself and laugh at some of the things I did because they were spiritual. And it's like with the best intention, but to fit into a new trend. Like, well, that's really conscious. That's really well, better do ayahuasca, better do this, better do that. So a lot of the time we are still searching and yearning for this approval, but in the disguise of spirituality, and that complicates it, because it's like the ultimate, to me, the ultimate spirituality is just that is just that like complete acceptance of the human experience. And I mean, we could go on and on about that forever, but while it's trendy, and while there's social media, we're so human, and we're so still seeking approval in so many ways. I think we forget that a key part of spirituality is to accept that there are a million ways to get to Rome, but it doesn't change Rome. And Rome is love. And there's a million ways to get there, whether it's this religion or this path, or plant medicine or meditation or Christianity or Hinduism or spending time in Bali or whatever. There's a million ways to get to Rome, but it doesn't change Rome. And when we can be in acceptance with, all I've got to remember is that Rome is love, and then I don't need everybody else to evolve and to get to Rome how I'm going to get to Rome. I'm going to get to Rome my way. I don't need to evolve the world. I don't need the world to evolve at my pace. What a heavy job to take on from the universe anyway. But when we first get into spirituality, like vegans, right? And I'm vegan, and I went through that phase where I became vegan, and I was like, why is not everybody vegan? How can you still be eating animals? Why are you so uncompassionate? You go through that righteousness at the beginning, and then you start to, I started to then be you get more real about it. You get more accepting. And it's my spiritual journey, my job is raising my vibration and taking care of the energy I'm sending out to the world and being in my alignment. And I cannot do that if I am trying to be responsible for other people's spiritual journey, other people's awakening, what other people are eating. And so I think for me, when where I'm at now is that my responsibility is my vibration, and I'll serve and create from my alignment. But my work is not evolving the world on my watch. It's not evolving my husband on my watch. It's not evolving my family on my watch. It's not evolving anyone on my watch. It's taking responsibility for my vibration and serving from there. But when we do get into anything new, we are so fascinated and sure of it that we think that the rest of the world needs to be like it. So we jump out of spirituality and into judgment. We jump out of consciousness and into judgment. But I feel like that's a necessary part of it, because that burns us out. And then we come back to, isn't it so much easier just to take care of my own alignment and to accept and love everybody for theirs? And so I feel like that's why it gets so complicated, because righteousness takes a place in it. And righteousness is not conscious, but it's such an important part of our journey. For me, righteousness, it burned me out and it landed me in acceptance. So, but I think that's what we got to get over is, the world will work perfectly fine and is evolving perfectly fine. There is no levels to consciousness. There is no you're not as woke as me. It's not a competition. It's not a race. So I think that once we can realize that our responsibility is our own vibration, our own sense of well-being, then we will be able to dissolve a lot of this complication we have around spirituality, and we can accept other people's journey, and we can accept our own. Not trying to get more woke than we are now, and have fun. I wish I had learned that 5 years ago. I could be conscious and spiritual and still playful. And I wish I had learned that. I wish I had known that when I first got into spirituality, because I was so serious about it,
Yeah, I was too. I'm so glad you said that, because I've been thinking about that lately. To me, spirituality was deep conversations. It was intense conversations. It was intense readings. It was kind of more painful work. You know what I mean? It was I need to go in and I need to analyze, why this is this way and whatever. But now it's when I am having fun with my boyfriend and we are laughing every second of the day, I'm oh, this is spirituality. Taking life as light as it can be, just laughing at all costs, taking nothing seriously. That is I'm so glad that you said that. That completely resonates with me.
Mm-hmm. Has your idea of success changed from when you were working in network marketing and now owning your own business? Well, I know you owned your own business throughout, but how your career kind of pivoted more to what you're doing now? Did it go from money to something else, or was it always kind of centered in spirituality and, having your vibration be true to you?
Yeah, I think when I decided to leave my PhD and pursue, I had no idea what I was pursuing. There was a yearning for a deeper sense of fulfillment there, but I didn't know yet that was what was defining success. It was like I was yearning for that. So, obviously when I was in my PhD, it was all perfect up until that point. Like, I love science. I still froth on it. But there was like this, having doctor in front of my name was so important to me for a little while. And then when my lack of like well-being and fulfillment became more important than that, then I started to flip my definition of success to like, no, I need to feel good. Like, I really need to feel good. So then when I got into network marketing, there was times when I was, that was at the core of my message. Like, guys, you got to live your ideal day. But still within that, there was times when I was working 16 hours a day. There was times when I was getting swept up into like this rhythm that at times felt good, but at times really burned me out. So it was this constant dance of like, going after my goals and, being this example of what life could be like. But my definition of success was constantly changing. Like, at one point it was the hustle. It was like, I was so proud of how hard I worked. I was so proud of how much I gave. I was so proud of how much I was traveling, and I was barely home. But then, my soul I feel like success, and this is how I define success now, is like when our head hits the pillow each night, does our soul fist bump us? Like, that's success. So it's always different. It's always different depending on what our soul is requiring. So on some days, it's going to be a 10-hour day at the computer. On some days, it's going to be going to the beach. It's so fluid. And this is why this element of like the divine feminine is really rising up in our businesses, because some days, our soul doesn't want the same shit every day. Like, our soul wants us to tune in every morning and be like, what is the most rewarding way for me to serve my business, myself, my family today? I feel like I was slowly getting there. I had to burn out to learn that I didn't want to burn out. I had to work really long days to learn that that's not for me anymore. And it just, so it was slowly this feel what was off, adjust, feel what was off and adjust. But I suppose after my PhD, when I got into network marketing, I can say, it still did really feel feeling based, although I had to learn, we have to learn that through, feeling how we don't want to feel and, going through models of success that don't feel right. But now it's like, I still some days it's like, but if I want to do this, it has to look like this. And I constantly reminding myself like, no, like no one can ever measure my success. I'm the only one who goes to sleep with my soul. And I'm the only one who knows whether I get a fist bump. And I'm the only one who knows how this feels. I'm the only one who knows the downloads I'm having, what it's like to be in my marriage and to be a mom, and to know what I must do each day to fulfill my soul. And no one on social media can ever tell how successful I am. Not by how good my book does, not by how big my events are, not by how much I might be given to charities, nothing. Like, no one at the end of the day knows how I feel. So now that's where I focus. That's where I'm really working on focusing, is just, does my soul fist bump me when my head goes to bed at night? Am I living in alignment with my soul? Am I feeling really good? But still, we're human. I'm human. There's still patterns where I feel like, fuck, I didn't like work enough today, or it does pain me to think about how many people are pursuing success at the expense of their real success, which is their soul just screaming out, like, just go to a cafe today, like, just go to the beach today. Just like, there's so much more to success than what can be measured. And I don't feel like we can actually measure it. We can only really feel it.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, Unbound. Stop what you're doing. We are going to have a little conversation, you and me. We are so proud to have Unbound as a sponsor. Polly Rodriguez started this company because she felt that this world lacked a place to have fun, inclusive conversations around sex. So she set out to create that world. It's been a total labor of love. If you've listened to our episode with Polly, probably about 6 months ago, go back and listen to that. She is a leader in changing how feminists explore and enjoy their sex lives. They send out a quarterly box. There is an online shop that is beautiful and fun to navigate. Get on there, unboundbabes.com. And they also have Unbound magazine. They believe in the radical possibilities of pleasure and that we humans are better when we come together. Get it? But listen, I am obsessed with Unbound. It's kind of changed my personal experience between me, between me and a partner. And I'm just really excited. I think the possibilities are endless when you incorporate fun toys, lubes, things like that into that intimate experience. And if you're not using lube, I'd say hop on the train, okay? You don't have to worry, oh my God, is he going to feel or she going to feel like they're not enough if I use lube? No, it's going to enhance your experience. And last but not least, I'll plug my favorite, the Squish. It's their new vibrator. It is so fun. It's cute as hell. And it fits in the palm of your hand. It has 5 modes. It is powerful, it's quiet, it's rechargeable, and it's also waterproof, safe to use. And I'm just in love with it, the Squish. So go to unboundbabes.com and you can use our code almost30 for 20% off. Can I say that loud enough? 20%. Okay, so go onto this site, shop around. This brand is changing the way we see sex. Fun sex toys. There's no shame, no judgment. Go enjoy it. We love you.
What advice would you give for someone, that's working a job that they don't like, 9 to 5, going into an office? What would you say that they do to kind of start on a journey to be more closely aligned?
I think the first thing is to just get really honest. When I do events, I talk about kink in the hose. So I talk about, our alignment. When we're in alignment, we are accessing our full life force, which is just a tap, a waterfall. We have energy, we have ideas, we have inspiration, we have downloads, we have abundance, we have joy. Everything is that we can literally stand in the waterfall or we can't. And we have this hose I talk about. And everything in our life that is misalignment, it's just misaligned. It's like kinking our life force. So we have these little kinks. It could be a relationship. It could be where we live. It could be our job. And they're just kinking our life force, and as we go through life, we gain these kinks. And
love that.
So when people come up to an event, they're like, fuck, Peta, my job is a kink. I know I would have more energy and more life force and more creativity if I could just not do this stupid job. Or some people say my whole life is a kink. Or some people say my husband is a kink. My wife is a kink. Or, being brutally honest, some people do that. And some people just say, hey, the fact that I haven't had this conversation with someone is kinking my hose right now. And so my advice to all of them is hey, I am not the unkinker of your hose, and you are the only unkinker of your hose. So, and I always let people know that alignment sounds like really woo-woo and warm and fuzzy, but alignment is literally the most ballsiest thing we can honor in our life. Alignment takes real courage and real balls to jump out of something that's not working for us, to leave something that's not in alignment with our soul, because no one else can ever understand. It's not like saying, hey, I can't make it because my child's sick. It's not like that where people can say, oh, I really understand. It's, hey, I changed my mind and I'm not willing to do that anymore because it's not in alignment for me. That takes balls, because you are just standing up for yourself in a way that a lot of people will never understand. And it's tough because there are other people involved. Sometimes you have to, sometimes other people's feelings will be hurt, and that's never the intention. Sometimes other people will be upset. Sometimes it's not right for someone else. If someone's still wanting to be in relationship with you, but you are so not in it, and you have to have that conversation, it takes balls. If your life force is 100% kinked by your job and you are feeling so urgently like you need to exit so that you can get your energy back, that takes courage, because there's so much unknown. When I left my PhD, that was one of the most courageous moments of my life, because I had it all planned out. I was going to be a doctor by the time I was 25. I already had a thesis. I was set. This was my path. This is what I knew. And when I left, I knew nothing but science and sport and school. I didn't have business in my family. I didn't have money in my family. I didn't know anything else. It was 100% faith in the fact that I deserved to have more of my life force than I had then. And so I remember the day I walked into my supervisor's office and I was bawling my eyes out, because I was like, I could be completely fucking up my life right now. But in my soul was literally just like taking the reins. She was like, shut up. Like your noise and your head has spoken long enough now. Like, trust me. So I walked in there a blubbering mess and I sat down in her office and I said, I need to leave. And she was like, what? Like, you're just about to propose your PhD. Like, we've worked so hard on this. And I was like, I didn't even have the words to tell her life force alignment. I didn't know it was that back then, but I just said to her, I'm so anxious. Like, it's not right for me right now. Like, I just feel so overwhelmed. And I was crying. And that was the only way I could explain it to her. And she was so beautiful. She was like, you know, whatever you want, like whatever you need, like, I trust you. And you've always been so committed. So I know you're not just making this choice like willy-nilly. And I walked out of there and I felt so relieved. And I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea. I was 22, no idea. But that relief and that energy and that life force gave me access to the next step. And so it took courage and faith and trust. And I think I had to move back into my mom's at that point, but that didn't matter because I had my life force. I had my energy back. I was able to access creativity and ideas and what was next. And some people might have said that was so irresponsible, but you know what? Like, fuck that sometimes, because sometimes responsibility and this feeling of I have to be over responsible is the exact thing that's keeping our hose kinked. And to me, there's no greater honoring of our responsibility than to be in our life force. And that is the most responsible thing we can do, because then we are on the same page as source and we're on the same page as our soul. And there's no better place for us to be than there, So my advice would be breathe, know that it takes courage, know that you are so understood by so many people who've had to make these leaps. Do it at a pace that feels right for you, but listen to your soul and understand that it might take a couple of weeks, a few months, like genuinely honor your life and the pace at which you're being asked to move. But when it's time, know that scary doesn't mean wrong. Know that scary sometimes means like you are so excited about the life force you're about to access, and go for it. So I feel like we need to put the power back in everyone's hands and realize that, your kinks are perfect. And you are the guru in your own life, and you just know, and just to trust that your feelings and how you feel in your body and your lack of energy or inspiration, like that's a perfect sign for you. There's nothing wrong. It's just signaling to you how much more better it can get, and just be in the excitement of how much better it will get.
It's so interesting. It's like you wanted to be a doctor, and now I feel like you're able to spiritually almost like diagnose, or giving people the language to almost diagnose themselves, like, okay, I should be following this a little bit more closely in a way. Like, I think our generation lacks, or now they're getting finally, like, the language, because it's always been just a feeling and you feel like you're alone because no one's really talking about it. So I think that's really powerful. How would you suggest to our listeners that they listen to their soul? Like, what does that feel like? I mean, I know what it feels like, but are there ways in which practices that maybe you could recommend?
Yeah. So I recommend a book. It's called Meet Your Soul by Alyssa Romeo, and she's a good friend of mine. That book has been life-changing for me. It's in my rotation. I recommend it. It's probably one of my top recommended books because it's so profound, but so no bullshit. It's so easy to grasp and understand. Like, I've read it and I've read it again, and every time it's a different transmission. But she has tons of different practices in there. One of them is soul journaling, and she talks specifically about, at the beginning, it is your ego talking and you don't know the difference. And she talks about fake it till you make it. So she's actually addressing these real human hurdles we have in accessing our inner guidance. And so Meet Your Soul is like the best no bullshit guide that I give people in terms of because we can say, what does it feel like? What does it sound like? But it's like, no, like, I want to hear it audibly. Like, we want to get there. Like, what does it sound like? Where can it write on the chalkboard on my wall? Like, that's where we want to go with our soul. And that's what she teaches, is have an audible, clear relationship with your soul. Not an iffy, whiffy, wishy-washy one, but like, I know that I know that I know. And it takes work because we've spent so many years listening to everything but it's, and it gets really emotional too, because you think about all the time that our soul has been correct. Like my favorite way to get people to tune in is like, has your intuition ever been wrong? And the answer is never, for everyone. And we can all look back at times when we look at what did it feel like when my soul spoke to me then? And when is it doing that? And how is it doing that right now? And I always like to ask the question, if you knew, what would the answer be? And then the first thing that comes to us is our soul. And but the trusting is the tough part because it's invisible. And, you know, we trust Wi-Fi, but I don't know why the fuck we don't trust our souls. Like Wi-Fi is invisible too, you know, but it takes work. So I feel like, you know, and we've got to acknowledge that. It's not good to just be like, trust your soul, trust your guidance. Like, no, we've got to work. We've got to show up every day and practice and speak and fake it till we make it so that our soul can trust us, you know, to listen again. And I think as well, I talk about getting in the tap. That's where guidance is clear. So for me, it's cacao ceremony, it's hiking, it's being in nature, it's circulating energy, all the ways I get into my tap where my guidance is clear. And I know it's my guidance because it feels foreign, it feels different, it feels like a download rather than something I'm making up. So to give ourselves the best chance of being guided, it's like getting to your tap. Like, what are the things you need to do? Like, is it like a cacao ceremony? Is it sitting with your coffee? Is it going for a hike in the morning with your shoes off on the grass? Like, what is it that gets you feeling centered and to do more of that? You know, people say, I wish I had a notebook in the shower. It's because that's people's spot, you know, the mind is quiet. Sometimes it's not meditation.
I just thought that the other day. I need a notebook in the shower.
Because you're not thinking, like you're having fun. You're just like showering and just, you're not trying to shower. You're just showering. So your mind is like, cool, I'm going to have a rest right now because I don't need to like trick you out of showering right now. So it's some people that's where they get vroom, 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 they guide it. Some people it's when they're dancing. You know, it's just, there's no right or wrong. You don't have to be sitting. Just know where you are when everything is clear for you and go there more often. But I 100% recommend Meet Your Soul.
Great.
It's powerful. And she's powerful. And she'll probably be great. Alyssa would probably be great if you want to get together.
Yes, would love to. That would be amazing.
She's badass.
She rocks. I think you were kind of alluding to it actually in your answer, but I wanted to ask you about your self-care, like what you do for self-care and like, why is that important?
Oh, well, I mean.
And how has it changed since having the babe?
Yeah, totally. It's still such a priority, you know. It's such a priority because our biggest responsibility is that we are thriving. And even as a mom, everybody says like, you know, last night I would have been up like 8 times because Soul's teething. But this morning I would, you know, ask my husband, you know, can you take Soul for a little bit longer so I can sleep 45 minutes? I still would wake up and do Pilates. There's days where it gets thrown off. Obviously, your child is your number one. And if you need to anticipate and adjust is like my rhythm. But it's still like, you know, I don't have as much time to just jump in the bath whenever I wanted, but I create it. I make sure that I have support when I need it. I make sure that, you know, especially in the mornings, that I am getting centered and I have a cacao ceremony every single day, no matter what. There's been only a couple of days since Soul's been born that I haven't. And I do that because I want to be centered and in my tap, and I want to be me for her. And, you know, it's such a small chunk of the day, and so much of the rest of the day is in service. You know, like I love cooking meals for my family now, whereas before I used to have the story of I don't really cook. You know, I'm too busy. Like
that's fine.
You know, it's just I'm not really that type of girl. But now I'm like, I fucking love it, and food's always been big to me, especially the last few years. Always eating like really nourishing foods and taking care of my body and my water. I've got like devices all over my house which are like anti-EMF. Like I'm like that. My daughter has a teddy bear. Anti electromagnetic field. So there's things that keep you fresh and clear from the effects of Wi-Fi and radiation. Just I'm that person, but I think for me it's cacao. That's what it is for me, sitting having a nice cacao ceremony every day because it feels good for no other reason than because it feels good and puts me in my tap. ensuring that we get out into nature every day. And even as I say this, it's like, it's not every day, but there's something every day that is just for me. And it's still as a mom. Like, I know that there's some moms who they are just on their own and they don't have support, and my love to them, honestly, because it's tough. And I'm so grateful for the support that I have. Like, I have my mom staying with us right now. When we're in the US, like, we have help with a nanny when we need it. Even though I've got a lot of work on, I like to make sure that I have a lot of play with Sol. But even outside of that, like this morning I was doing Pilates on my mat and I had that thought wash over me, like, fuck, Peta, like, you have this full morning ritual still and you're a mom. Like, is that bad? That still washes over me. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I don't need to borrow the story about what I am deserving of as a mom. It doesn't make me any less of a mom because I take care of myself. And that's, like I've said it ever since Sol was born, I know how to work my ass off. And I don't want Sol to say that about her mom. My mom works hard. I want her to say, like, my mom thrives. My mom is such a happy, generous, fun, creative mom. And she's so herself for me. And so that's so important for me, is that she sees me still doing some Pilates in the morning, if it was 20 minutes, having cacao. I always kiss her on the head, say, Sol, mom's going to do her cacao meditation now. Like, I'll see you in 20 or 30 minutes. And, just having the time where we have our phones off. Like, it's simple stuff like that. Sometimes you don't have to do anything. Sometimes your self-care is in not doing something. Like, sometimes your self-care is just turning your phone off and getting off Instagram and not being bombarded with other people's agendas for the day. Like, maybe your self-care doesn't have to be an action. Maybe it can just be like some relief from noise. So if you don't have time for self-care, just cut the noise out for a little bit. Turn your phone off, and that can be the greatest act of self-care for your day. And that's also proved to be true in my life as a mom, is sometimes I do want an Insta scroll, just a real indulgent Instagram scroll, filthy memes, whatever I want. But and no judgment, just
shit. You're just like, what the fuck's going on? I feel that sometimes I have like dirty people on my dirty Instagram scroll, not like dirty, like gross, but just, like,
they just show up and you're like,
ass people. I'm I just need like 2 minutes of this trash. I'm like, oh, just bitches naked again? What?
Just the best. And then just stalking. Like, I wonder if when that girl's going to get pregnant. I want to go have a look.
There's a kid from my high school that was like, it's like a rapper now, and he's dating a girl. And I'm like, when I literally look weekly, I'm like, are they going to break up? I'm like, he's a rapper now. I don't know if they can still be together. That's like my dirty thing.
But you need it. It's like so human. So sometimes I'm like, Sol, just stay down here. Mom's going to go upstairs right now. I'm just going to have a little scroll. But it's like, but sometimes my self-care is that. And when you're like doing quite high vibration activities, like after an event, like after my book tour, like I'm like, honey, like I'm putting Sol to bed and I'm just going to scroll Instagram and I'm just going to, but it's because you need a ground, otherwise you're too floaty. But sometimes when you get real, you're like, you know what, fuck it. I have too many people's noise up in my grill. My self-care today is I'm not going to check my phone till 3:00. And so sometimes self-care is as easy as just not doing something,
I think it's so important. I know you're a new mom and I don't know the recent work you're doing with, like, are you working with moms? Like, I just think back and we talk about it sometimes, like our moms who really like, my mom didn't really take care of herself, right? Like that was that generation of just, doing everything for your kids. And what they didn't understand was that like, they can't be giving fully because they're not fulfilled, right? Yeah. Like, but I just think it's really, really, really important work for our generation. Like, so I don't know if you're working with moms now, but
I am not working like exclusively with moms, but I am making sure, like, so I have this space called the Earth Esco, and it's pretty much like high performing women meets the earthy woman, where we can like still like create epic shit, but sit and like just talk about like sensuality, creativity, like just bridging them together, like the ancient and the new, because we hear all the time the Western woman's going to change the world. It's like, well, let's do it. But it's a place to soften too, for the high-performing woman to really soften into her feminine, which, I definitely need. So So I'm always making sure I speak, like we're doing a birth series in there right now. And I'm always making sure I'm speaking about birth and empowered birth and trusting your body and always trying to share my genuine experience of motherhood just online. So I'm making sure like I'm being a voice and not even just being a voice, just being a human, like sharing my experiences so I can reach moms and perhaps give them a new perspective or even just show them that part of me. So like the business women can see like, wow, I'm not scared to be a mom. Like you can, so I'm always I'm always really conscious and mindful to share that part of my journey in a way that it's not really with the intention to inspire. I wouldn't say that. It's just because it's such a relevant part of my journey. And it's just the same. My biggest thing is like owning our stories and choosing our stories. And that's another part of our life where we've got to do it. So soul's such a relevant part of my life, and mothering is just such a profound, significant part of my life that I couldn't show up authentically online without serving mums. But I am really passionate about birth. I'm really passionate about conscious pregnancy, about empowered birth, about mums being taught to trust themselves as mums, but as pregnant women and as people who are meant to birth. Like, again, birth is a whole other thing that I could get into, but we are Mother Nature in human form. And for me, birth is such a rite of passage, and being like Mother Nature when it comes to being a mom is such a rite of passage. And just so for me, I just want to be that example to people who are looking to trust themselves more, to trust nature more, to trust life more, to trust their children more. And obviously I'm still rookie, 100% rookie mom, like just make hilarious mistakes still. Soul got sunburned the other day and I was like, how the fuck did I let that happen? Like, really obvious. And you feel awful because you're like her little spoon. Oh my God.
Totally. Oh.
And then my friends are like,
so soft and so red.
Yeah. For me, I don't know if I'll ever create something like specifically for moms. I think just always being open and honest about my mothering journey, apart from the parts that perhaps I do want to keep sacred, just always being open and sharing that real part of my journey. I think that's the best way to reach moms. And I've got so many friends who do exclusive things for moms, but yeah, I never thought I'd be like full. I'm heading down like the birth activist path. I mean,
wow, that's rad.
Because if you heal birth, you heal the whole earth.
That's so true. I feel it's been interesting. So with our podcast, one of the most popular topics that we've talked about is hormone health and birth control and kind of taking back fertility and your cycle and, removing yourself from like prescriptions or like drugs in that way. Yeah. And it's interesting because I could see us transitioning to birth. And like the importance of natural birth. It's kind of like now that we're talking about this, we're talking about birth control, maybe not a best option for a lot of people. And I can see us going into so I think that's really interesting. Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And when we're pregs, we'll call you.
Yeah.
And we'll have
100%. 100%.
We'll have a podcast episode.
Yeah, do it because there was so much conscious preparation that went into my pregnancy, my birth. And a lot of people have you're so lucky. And I know how many people have the universe shock them with tragedy and disaster. And we are no stranger to that. We all have friends, mums, aunties who've really been dealt tough cards. And we are never denying that, whether it's pregnancy or birth or motherhood. But so much for everyday people, there is so much choice and conscious intention that we get to have. And I think some people are so fearful of the process that they aren't exercising their right to choose health, to choose like the enjoyment of it. And in a world where we are constantly being surprised and humbled, when we do have the opportunity to choose, like we should take it and we should really exercise that power. So, when I was pregnant, I was like, honey, I want to be like a remote doula, like just send people resources and just cheer people on and remind them to trust their body, remind them to trust their baby. On my wall when Soul was born, just behind me, I had. And again, this isn't about saying everyone needs to have a home birth. Everyone needs to have a drug-free birth. It's not about that. It's just about reminding the mom, like you are being taught to fear your body and you need to be taught to trust yourself, to trust your baby, to trust Mother Nature, and to thank God that hospitals and interventions are there when we need them. But still, you need to trust your body. You need to trust the fact that you are given this gift of life because you are a life giver. And, it's a rite of passage, like birth. I'm going to do a post on it later. Like today's Soul's 8-month birthday, and every month on the 7th of every month, we sit and we play her birth video. And when I birthed Soul, her name's Soul, like son, when I birthed her, she birthed me. And so it was like, I get so upset when women are robbed the right to enjoy them, to feel empowered in that process. And no matter how it goes, no matter what they choose, hospital, C-section, whatever. And my midwife actually made a documentary. We could go on it. Let's do another call about it another time.
Yeah. Oh, too. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to. We need to talk about Earth Desiring.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Book. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration.
So my book again. So I think I tried to write that book like 7 times because everybody else in my field writes a book. So that was my misaligned motivation, and it didn't work. I was what Alyssa Romeo, my friend, she actually, the one who wrote Meet Your Soul, she actually said to me, Peter, you're being clock blocked by the universe because you're not meant to write it yet. And I was like, yeah, sounds about right. Because it was just, there's a difference between resistance and just like, it was just pushing shit uphill. It wasn't, I didn't have that like tap when I went to do it the first few times. And so I really let it go. And I was like, I'm going to write this book. If I let the whole book go. I was like, I may not be meant to write a book. Like not everybody needs to write a book. Like I speak, I create this other stuff. Like it might not be a book for me. And then I got pregnant with Soul, and it was very clear, write the book. Because if anything ever happened to me, I would not want to leave this earth without writing this book for her and her generation. You know what I mean? So she became my urgency. She became my motivation. She became my inspiration, because it wasn't just writing a book for our generation and for the world to understand our generation. It also became important for me so that she knew and her generation knew what we cared about and that we really give a shit about their world. And so when I had the next generation in my womb, literally from the point where she was a soul inside a grain of rice, that's how small she was. I just was like, I am not, like, I'm writing this book before she is in my arms, because that was all the inspiration I ever needed. So every day when I was pregnant, I would just do an hour and a half in the morning, and I would just get it all out, trust what was meant to happen. It was 250,000 words for the beginning, and I cut it in half. So it was just like, just let it out. That's just getting it out and just channeling whatever was meant to come through, dumping all the information out of my cells when it was needed to come out of my body as well. And then piecing it together in a way that was very raw. I drew pictures all throughout it. I put crosswords in it. It was untouched by a publisher in terms of no one told me whether it was good or not. It was, this is it. Let's get it out. And it's just been so well received and such a great, fun process,
Damn. Props.
Not hard.
And then mom edited.
And then my mom, so I had an editor. She was amazing. Her name's Jana. She was just super duper. She edited, my mom proofed it because she's an English teacher. And then when I read, so it's crazy because when you proof it reading, you miss a lot of things. Then I read the audiobook and I found like 100 more typos just from saying it. And I was like, just had to pull it back from print, change them, and then send it back. And then it was crazy because they were like, do you want to listen to your audiobook and listen for edits? I was like, no. Like, just get it out. Like, get it out. Yeah, my tribe knows I'm very, like, the more raw, the better. So it's like, it's more important to me that they just get it than for me to make it extra perfect now. So I cleared up all the typos, and, it was all great. But for this book to get out, it had to be in a way that was very aligned and fun, light, and with the priority being like alignment and authenticity, and not just publisher pleasing, which is why I self-published it.
Man, oh man. I was thinking about like how your tribe loves and expects that you're going to be raw and all of that. And like how you talked about earlier, like the fanship, like the life coaching space, the spirituality space, the wellness space. It's like, we're in LA.
It's formulaic for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
it's just interesting. Like, you're so different.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know what I want to ask. I just like, do you have kind of this sense of the of the industry where you're just in your own lane, or are you affected by, people who are doing similar work? It is more kind of like a fanship type thing where they look up and they're like, I want to be that, like it's just interesting to observe from my perspective. I don't really partake in it, but I'm just like, for you being in it, how does that feel?
I definitely am like aware of I wouldn't even say I'm in an industry. This is the thing. It's just,
That's true. I know.
When people ask what I am, what I do, like that is the most awkward question that I get asked. That's why I'm just human. Like, I don't know what do you want me to say? Like, I mean, like I speak, I create, I write, I like I can cook like this amazing stuff. Like what the fuck? Like it's so awkward for me. Like coach, no, not that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do one-on-one calls at all. Quite awkward for me really to even think about that. Not a coach.
So
like I can't. I actually gave it a whirl twice just because people kept asking.
You hung up.
And I was like, I did 2 and I got off and I was like I fucking don't know how to cook it. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good, so I gave it a whirl.
Oh, they're not going to take action against everything I say.
I think they enjoyed it.
They did.
But I don't, like, coaching is not for me. I don't do one-on-one calls. I'm not, I just actually stopped all my online mentoring things because even that is not fulfilling for me right now. Like, for me, I want to just, like, I want the human touch and the human connection, which is why I create the events, and the book tour is so important to me to do. And so, for me, that's always the most awkward thing. Like, I want to create whatever I'm called to create. And there's so many things buzzing and swirling for me right now that it's just, my purpose is not so much in what I am serving the world with. It's just 100% in how. So for me, it's how. How am I going to create this? How am I going to
that resonates?
How am I going to post online? Like, I want to be an example for how we can be in the lightness and play and trust and radical alignment. And, just, I want how I'm creating to be my gift to the world. And so I love that. I don't compare myself to anyone. People ask me how many books have you sold. I have no idea. Someone sent me today a screenshot of my audiobook in like recommended audiobooks with like Russell Brand or whatever. I didn't even think to check. I have no interest in checking. Like, I'm never going to read the reviews. Like, I promise myself that. I love, it's just, I just need to do it my way. And I wish everybody would just do their thing their way. Not trying to fit into an industry. Like, I don't have an email list at all. I don't email people at all. I'm not interested in emailing people. I'm not interested in email marketing. I don't do lead pages. I'm just at that point where it has to feel good to me. And I know what it feels like to be a human. So I'm not going to try and backdoor market a human. Why don't I just talk to the people and say, hey, like, how can we support each other? What do you want that I can help you with? It's just, I just feel like it can be so much easier than we let it be. I've got to this alignment through doing things that were misaligned for me, doing the lead pages, creating this program that was not fulfilling for me. Having people tell me, well, you need to sell at the end of your events, like having all that for me to get to the point where I'm like, nah, like just nah. Like, I just, there doesn't have to be like a purpose on top of the fact that it feels good. Like, that can be the purpose right there. I'm creating this because it feels good. Like, I'm being really called to create a physical space right now. Like, and it's been tapping me for 3 years. And people will ask me all the time, like, well, what's the business plan, this and that? And, why would you do anything brick and mortar when you're just so free now? And I'm like, well, if I do it, it's going to be because it's fun and because I want to give it to the world. And I don't need to explain it any further than that. It doesn't need to fit. Creativity doesn't need to fit into your brand. Like, I've got shit that I'm creating right now. I'm creating one thing with my mentor right now. It's like the most random fucking thing in the whole world. It doesn't fit into any of my brands. It doesn't fit into this. It doesn't fit into that. It doesn't really make sense, but it's fun, enjoyable. I think people are going to like it. We're going to do it. And And that's enough for me right now. Like the how, like, because, and I learned that through focusing too much on the what too many times. And, even the why, like we watched Simon Sinek's, like the why, that used to be my big message, like what excites you? That's why you got to do it. But now I'm all about the how, like be in the vibration you want to be in while you're creating and gifting, and choose how you want to live and create and be in business. And for me, it is complete alignment, radical care for our earth, and lightness and fun and play. And just, if I can be in that respect and in that alignment for the how, there's going to be all these little different whats that pop out. And that's why it's so hard for me to define, what I do and what I am, and because I'm just like, I'm like that, our Instagram bio, that is probably the most challenging part of my life, that Instagram bio. Like, what do I put there?
Mine's like, I'm like, if you read mine, you wouldn't think I'm as cool as I am. I'm way cooler than my bio, but like, what am I going to do? Put like a cool sentence, like a rap quote? I don't really know. How can I express how cool I am in this bio?
You know what? You should put that. Like, how can I express how cool I am in my bio? Like,
that's true.
Because it's like, I'm the same thing. I'm like, fuck.
Like, I'm like, I want you guys to know I'm funny and I'm like different and, but like, I don't know.
It's so like, there should be like someone who comes and sits with you for a day and then writes your Instagram bio for you.
As a service.
That's you should, because I'm still struggling with mine. I looked at it the other day and I clicked the edit button and I was like, this is just not me. Like, how could I put that? Like what I really am. So the one people are like, can you give me your title? I'm like, I literally get so awkward. Like, I don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm like, we just need to be like big enough where we just start like, I'm Krista. Like with Oprah. It's like, who the fuck's Oprah?
Yeah, no shit. But then you see those people who've nailed it in like a couple of words, and you're like, oh my God, that is so sick. So
jealous, I know.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
When it feels like super like in the box, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I know.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
This is insane.
Yeah.
I can't wait for, we're going to have to do, because I want to do a full episode with you. Of
birthing.
Birthing. And then I want to do like Mother Nature, your connection to nature.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to talk about that in like more detail at some point. But
I would love to.
All night.
They're just my jams.
Dude, that would be amazing. And you have a baby and we have bedtimes because we're babies.
Yeah, no shit. I'm like, well, you guys started at 7:45 p.m. Like, good on you. Like, I'm not functioning at that time. Yeah. So, gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. We don't sleep.
Sleep when you're dead.
It's tattooed on my back.
Yeah. It's just hilarious. You guys need to go to bed.
I know.
Well, thank you. How can our listeners connect with you?
Yeah, hit us up when you're in LA too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be in LA. My book tour is there on May 19th.
Oh,
pretty sure.
Done.
Yeah.
We'll stalk.
Are you having an event here?
Yeah, May 19th in LA.
Oh, sweet. Okay, perfect. We'll be there.
Get your tickets because
done.
They're all New York sold out already, and it's like in June.
Whatever.
Okay, cool.
But we're looking to expand the venue because I'm like, we cannot be sold out already. No, we need to get a venue for New York people, all that people on the other side of the country, because I'm only doing 6 spots.
Yeah.
Because I have a child and I'm not going to drag her around the world, but we're doing 6 spots. So it's like, I'm like, we can't be sold out already. It's just not. But you know what New York's like. It's like,
I know.
Oh, do you want to spend $4 million?
Yeah, literally. They're like, sure, we've got a solution.
But yeah, come see us in LA. We should hang out the day before or after or something.
Would love that.
Love that.
We can record in person.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Bring the baby.
Come. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm sure she does. So cute. Okay, cool. Wait, did you say where they can connect with you? The best way
to social media, my website, petakelly.com.
Perfect.
That you can get to my book tour and everything from there. But I'm mainly on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is slightly leading Facebook right now. Facebook's you do a post and you get like 2 likes on it. It's like, what does it work anymore?
Yeah. Literally. I'm like, oh, cool.
She's like, I'm so proud of you. I'll call you in 5 minutes.
Yeah. You're like, leave me alone, Mom.
But Instagram and Facebook is where it's at.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for making the time.
Yeah, you rock. This was like, we'll let you know when this comes out because our listeners are going to be obsessed and they're going to be hunting you down. So thanks so much, lady, for those one-on-one
My
calls.
pleasure. Thank you so much. Your podcast is so fun.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Can't wait to meet you in May.
Have a good one.
Yes.
Bye, lady.
Bye.
Bye.
Time flies when you're being like ambushed by knowledge and spiritual bombs.
Literally.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Peta Kelly. Please connect with her, tag her in anything that you do on Instagram. We told her that Almost 30 Nation was coming for her. You can visit her website, petakelly.com. Her book, Earth is Hiring, is one that I think should be on your bedside table. It is awesome. And thank you so much for rating and reviewing on iTunes and subscribing and sharing it with your...
We read everyone.
We literally...
There was a sweet review I want to read. It says, it's from Jade Tales. And it says, so versatile. Love the versatility of guests and topics and how easily you two lead the conversation. That is such a sweet little sentiment. You know, just a little sentence of niceness. Little 5 stars for you. That is so sweet. So thanks so much for rating and reviewing. We read every single one of those. And it means a lot. It really just helps us get on the charts, be on the charts, helps us get people like Peta on, helps us really just grow and, you know, make our community really expand.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram too. Our Instagram is like ratchet and fun and inspiring all at the same time. And we do feature Fridays. So if you do tag us,
we'll shout you out.
We'll shout you out. And especially join our secret Facebook group. As you guys know who are a part of it, it's a really special, sacred space, you know, where people feel really comfortable to share. It's fun, it's funny, it's inspiring. And we just can't wait to have you in there. So look for us on Facebook. And yeah, guys, we hope you have a great week. Again, our events are on our website, almost30podcast.com. Check those out. We can't wait to see you on our tour. And please write into us if you want to hear from someone, if you want to talk about a certain topic. Like, we are all motherfucking ears. Please. This is how our show evolves. And, you know, no matter how big this podcast gets, like, you guys are the ones who are helping us to curate what this show is and becomes. So thank you. We love you so much.